Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. So today we got a special treat here. Today's more of a, let's not call this a video review, given the negative implications. Think of it more of a meeting of minds. Also, I don't think I've ever used still images from TV shows, so hopefully I don't get taxed and Furio comes over to my house and makes me kick up to HBO or Borco there. Anyway, this is kind of a reminder that I'm going to talk about more like the M16A2 carrying handle. It also coincides with when the new Sopranos movie is coming out this October. But one of the things when we were talking about before is that when I was building attempting to build the M733 based on WE parts, I've noticed that was a very difficult build to find, partially because it was very hard to source your parts for your airsoft guns. You go to any airsoft store out there and they would either have all like the modern stuff that you see on most stores or basically available anywhere, or it's if you're lucky you might get the really vintage stuff. It's on the very extreme end of the spectrum. And when I say vintage, I'm talking like M16A1 with the A1 carrying handle, or the XM177 E2, again still the A1 carrying handle, or even my GMP Car 15, right? That was a very vintage, very vintage model. Again, I'm happy to have those in the market, but for those kind of retro but not quite as old, like such as the M16A2, those are not readily available anywhere. They are just very difficult to find. If you were to flip through any site, and we'll go through a little bit, you just don't see them, and that's what makes it so hard to make that build. Now you're probably asking, wait, hold on, why are you making a big deal out of this, right? I see an M733 in this picture right in front of my eyes right now, right? With the fixed A2 carrying handle. And that is true, that is correct, that is, I'm very lucky to be able to get one, but they're just so hard to find. And when you do find it, right, they're super expensive, so basically that eats into your entire airsoft budget, right? So you have to save for like months on end, right, just to get one. And then after you get one, right, if ever you're ever worried about like damaging it, right, that becomes an issue, because oftentimes you kind of want to be in a situation where if it breaks, right, you don't have to worry about it, right? You don't want to have to be in a situation where you have to look for parts and replacements, or like, you spent a fortune on this thing and you really just want to keep it in like the closet, right, and keep it safe. And that shouldn't be the case, right? And not that I'm saying that this will be happening with the Viper Tech, right? This thing is pretty solid. It's built really well, but it's just better when it's more accessible and like you can splash on paint or whatever you want, and it wouldn't be as much of an issue. So take, for example, the WE, it's so common and so easy to obtain at a relatively decent price that it's not an issue. I think part of it is, if you look back in those movies where the M733s were in, Heat, right, Black Hawk Down, Blood Diamond, well, that's a picture of Jarhead right there, but that has an M16A2 in it, and a lot of these are the vintage models that you can't find. That's very difficult to build. I know the one from Heat has the A1 upper in it, but again, that's a transitional one, so that's even harder to find anywhere. But I would argue that despite being in limited numbers, that A1 transitional receiver with the little A1 style carrying handle and the brass deflector is really hard to find. That is arguably as hard to find as these A2 upper receivers for gas blowback specifically. So for those who want to build those Blood Diamond build or any of that, it's just hard. Now, partially it's probably because, these are relatively old movies. Newer movies, if you don't have to look very far, you'll notice that these are kind of the new stuff they've got, right? And the airsoft market kind of reflects what you see in these new movies right here, right? That iconic carrying handle is kind of gone from all these cases right here. Now they're still recognizable, right? You see that low receiver, and it's kind of still there in all these cases. But again, for those who want that intermediate and not want to go completely retro, but still want some of that vintage, 1980s model, you're kind of out of luck. This is an AM16A2, but it's an AEG model. A lot of the gas blowback out there is just mainly like WE or Marui. Those just aren't available. So you would go down to any different situation and you would kind of look for, let's see here, gas blowback rifles. Scroll down, and again, if you want to look at anything modernized, it's easy. Ooh, look at that. Colt's got some new good stuff coming out right there. But again, all modern, right? No fixed carrying handle. If it is, it's that vintage Vietnam era style. And I wonder if the airsoft market, the community in general, would like to see more of the A2 upper, because that's like the one missing link for many parts, right? If you were to type in like M733, I saw a GHK one, so I type in GHK Heat M733, and you actually were able to find one right here, but I don't even know how you would order this, let alone have to get the translations correct. But man, see how hard it is? This would be awesome to get. But I think you have to go through a custom, like I said, you have to go through a custom group in order to get it. And again, it's not even instantly not even the A2 carrying handle, but it's definitely the one from the movie. Oh, in fact, they even have it right there. I can't imagine how much this would run for. It's probably like maybe 2,000 maybe to get one of these. But yeah, that's why it's totally out of the reach of some people. But man, does that look cool. If you have one M16A2 model by say WE, right? All you have to do is you can build anything you want from there afterwards, because these are all pretty modular. You can just switch out in different parts, or even a third-party manufacturer that would manufacture it for WE or maybe Marui. One of those things would really provide you with a lot more options. And don't get me wrong, I like the new stuff as much as any other guy, right? Maybe not too modern, nothing like with a lot of rails in it, but fixed, detachable carrying handles, optics, something I can get behind that, right? I know, definitely not against that either. But I just like having the options, right? So like here I have my PMAG with my M733, which is no big deal. But you have the options to have your standard, classic 30-round metal or aluminum magazines, which should be the case with your gas blowback builds too. So hopefully, I'm hoping that since Marui came out with a new model that has the A2 build available, maybe they'll move on to the gas blowback markets and change that as well. Because right now, if you were to look for one, you really can't build one. You kind of have to go through custom places and pay very high prices for it to get one. And I think this is an idea. I would rather have anyone take this idea right now. Basically, if you were wanting to, go ahead and make one. And I think there's a huge market for it. Because I don't really know why people aren't doing it right now. Mainly because maybe the modern stuff is just selling out much more quickly, and that could be why that's what people want. But hey, I could be wrong, and I think if they don't do this in like 10 years, I'm gonna get some capital together and just build my own system here and then sell it. But I'd rather someone just take my idea right now and just have it readily available for that. Video probably didn't have the makings of a varsity M16A2 carrying handle, but hey, hopefully there will be more on the horizon, and maybe there will be some more builds for the future for those airsofters who really want that retro build. All right, see y'all next time.